For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Now, back in the day, the biggest concern about a workplace or a job was, and here's the term, office politics. Right? That could be anything from, this person's a suck-up, or this one's the tattletale, or this manager is the dick and power trips, and this one has an ego, and this executive can't be approached in the hallway, and this, and so it was office politics, right? Now, though, workplaces have entirely changed where, yes, there's still politics. I'm not saying that's gone away, but it seems like an office almost has become a daycare or a hangout center. I mean, yes, it's casual, but the games, the prizes, the Spirit Week, the decorate your cubicle and win a $5 coffee gift card and all this stuff. And I sit here, I'm 43 years old. I sit there and I look at that and go, wow. Because I've said, I'm here to do the job. I do the work, and then I go home. I'm not here to play games, and now I understand it's about employee engagement and incentivizing and keeping morale up and whatever, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you like the job and you like what you're doing, that's kind of enough, right? So that's what we're talking about on the show, because we just had this big discussion in our office. Now, again, it seems like I say this every week. Our team has been together for 20 years, over 20 years. We worked together at a publishing company, and, well, most of us did, not everybody. And then I poached them, and when I started my own company, I brought the team over, and then we've added a couple of people along the way. But we don't have, okay, it's dress up, it's Hawaiian shirt day, and okay, let's play some games and do some prizes. No, so I'm going to explain the way our office works, and then also just some of the situations and experiences that we've had back in the day, because outside of this company, we've also had other jobs, and it's kind of eye-opening, because again, if you've been in the workforce for, let's say, over 20 years, as we all have, you've seen a shift. I even think back to when my dad was working. He's retired now, but when I was a kid, I don't even know how old I was. I was probably, I was less than 10 years old. So we're going back 30 years now. I remember, you'd have the bikini babes sitting on motorcycles on the wall. That's, there were calendars and things like that. That's what you had in office. They were smoking in the office too. But I just want to talk about how workplaces have changed, and it's all, catering to employees, which for employees that can be a good thing. But for, professionals who just kind of are like, I'm just here to do the job, it can be frustrating. So we'll talk about that on The Scribble, starting right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. SpeakFreeWithJB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
JB here on the Scribble. So obviously, I mean, I own this company. We've been very successful. We have a lot of projects on the go. So my disclosure is I haven't applied for a job in a very long time, just because, I haven't. That's just not my thing. I'm the boss. So when I do see job ads, because a lot of times, especially if there's typos, because I always laugh and go, this is an HR department, they don't know how to spell. So people will send me job ads just to kind of laugh at. And then I'll also get ones where you can see the ridiculously low salary for something in this industry or whatever. So I see job ads all the time. But something that's fascinated me over the last about 5 years or so is how a workplace is becoming more and more like a high school hangout or a playground, or you've got video games, you've got board games, beer on tap, and snacks and whatever, and of course that's all because employees want to feel appreciated, right? That's the whole idea. And so I mean, I'm one of those people who, first of all, I wouldn't be able to work in a place like that. That would just drive me insane. I come in, let's say that my job is I'm a writer so let's say that I'm the corporate copywriter. Okay. So I'm hired at this place. I come in, and on day one, there's people spinning in chairs and throwing ping pong balls. And I'm looking at that going, okay, well, they're having fun, but I'm here to write. So, can you just give me my quiet space where I can do the job, and then I'll, maybe take my lunch, and then I'll go home for the day. I don't need to be involved in the frat party, environment here. That's just like, to me, that's, I don't know. And so the argument that you hear from management is, well, it motivates people and it makes them, work harder, and they might even, stay longer in the day rather than, and I'm sitting going, I'd rather cut all that out and end the day early, so I'd rather cut the bullshit of, decorate your cubicle. Oh, it's fine. I'm here to do the job. I'm not here to, participate in games. So there was one company that, years ago, they'd brought me in to produce a corporate podcast for them. Obviously, I've been in radio for over 20 years. They are a national company, but they're based locally. They were in Canada. I'm in West Hollywood now. But so they bring me in to create this podcast, and so they have at one point a desk, and then they ended up making a little studio in an empty office for us. So I'm just here to do. I'm here to meet with whoever's doing it, the marketing guy, a VP, or, whoever. But the problem is that when you're in the office, you're now suddenly, brought into all these things. So they were doing, I just remember something about like wall squats or whatever you call that, where it's like you're sitting, it's like you're in the seated position, but you're up against the wall. I don't know what that's called. What is it called? Walls. Anyway. So they would do things like this at lunchtime, but the problem was that nobody wanted to participate. So you'd have all of the young gals, because it was the girls from HR. They were called the Blonde Brigade. So they were women in their early 20s, and they were just sort of viewed as like the mean girls in this little like sorority kind of, giggly cackly. If they like you, then you were good. Otherwise, it's like, oh, they're talking, and that's HR, believe it or not. So they would coordinate these different lunchtime, events or exercises or things like that, but nobody would want to do them. So they would come around to the different departments and the different areas within the office and go, okay, come on, let's go. It's time to do wall squats, right? Okay. So, or whatever. Anyway, so they're having to now, like, they're now soliciting. They're now having to go and almost like physically pull people up. And so one day they came by me, and I just looked and I was like, yeah, no thanks. I'm not here to do that. No. And then you're looked at, because you don't participate, you're looked at as, not a team player and a party pooper at home. And it's like, I mean, I was in my, how old was I? I would have been in my maybe early 30s, I guess, at the time, maybe-ish. And I just remember thinking, I'm a fucking grown-ass adult. I mean, if I want to get up and exercise my legs and, go for a walk or do whatever, I'm going to do that. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm here to, like, why are you interrupting what I'm doing? If anything, you should be wanting me to be focused on the task at hand and not paying attention to all the auxiliary things that are going on around us. So, but that was a workplace where, again, they would do the stupid little prizes and the games and, decorate your desk and you can win a prize. You can win a $10 gift card. And I just thought, wow. I've never needed a big raw pep rally to do my job. I mean, if I did, I just wouldn't work in the place. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of, I don't need encouragement and enthusiasm and let's get the energy going, whatever. It's like, I'm a writer, so I'm going to come in. I need a creative space. I need to sort of get into a vibe, into a zone, and then I'll do the job. But leave me the fuck alone. Like, why are you interrupting? Because now you've interrupted my train of thought. Now you've frustrated me. So now my mind is going a mile a minute. Now I can't focus on right stuff that I need. I'm not saying that a writer is, this tough job or, that we're all divas and whatever. But I mean, you do need to be in a certain zone to be able to, focus and put your words out there, So that's one of the things that we were kind of laughing about here, where somebody had said, like, could you imagine if we did things like, pajama day and whatever? It's like, we don't have time for that. We're here, we produce syndicated radio shows, newspaper content, books. We have our e-commerce stores. I have never, with our coffee guys here in West Hollywood, we've got 7 to 8 of them. One of them is part-time, but we don't have to do, okay, everybody, let's do this. Yeah, okay, go team. I fucking hate that. And honestly, if you're the type of person that needs that, you wouldn't fall in with our group. It would just be like, yeah, no. There was one, so I mentioned the publishing company that we all worked at. There was a graphic designer. She was hired very, very high maintenance, very, with the nails done, the perfect makeup, the eyebrows just totally, I think they were shaved and drawn on her head. On the first day she came in, she had her own little wireless pink mouse. She had a little mirror on her desk. Eventually she started bringing in one of her little rat dog, like the little Paris Hilton kind of, it fits in your pocket kind of, like she had this, like a little pillow on her desk. And I walked by one day and I just thought, you've worked here for like 2 fucking days. Like, seriously, settle down. What's this? Like, wow. So, somebody like that, I'm just not going to hit it off with, because she obviously has an opinion of herself and, make herself at home. And I'm just going to bring my pet into the office and just have it sitting on my desk. Like, okay. Are you here to do graphic design, or are you here to, like, is this a puppy daycare? Like, what are we, no. So I've never got along well with people like that, but definitely the ones who are, come in, dressed up in the pajamas and the life. It's like, I just, those people annoy me. It's not even about them being funny or me just being a miserable old fucking curmudgeon. It's just like, this is a workplace. Like, I mean, let's just do the job. I don't understand why we need to have this, I'm in my 40s. Again, you're expecting me to, decorate a desk or dress up in some stupid outfit to win a $10 gift card. Just think about that. Like, you're in your 40s. No, it's not happening. So now let's shift gears to the staff parties. Holiday party, I guess they're called now. They're called the staff Christmas party. But back in the day, we're going to take a break. All right. Well, let's talk about company Christmas party or company parties on the Scribble right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here, back on the Scribble. It seems like people want to spend less and less time at work. And I mean, the pandemic really made it easy for people to then work remotely, right? You wouldn't have to go in and see your obnoxious coworkers every day. But the one thing that used to be a highly anticipated event for my parents' generation was the Christmas party. Now, my mom would call it the Christmas do. So my dad worked at a place for 30 some years. As I already said, he's retired. So he retired about, I was going to say 5 or 6 years, but I think it's more than that because my mom retired about 5 years ago. So maybe my dad's been retired for almost 10 years now. Yeah, he's in his 70s. So I remember being a kid at home and my mom would be in a dress. You'd think that she was going to a wedding. I mean, that's just how formal this was. And she's got her indoor dancing shoes on or whatever, but I just remember hearing the click 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 of the heels on like the kitchen floor as she's walking through. So she's fully dressed, like this was something that they would wait for. Maybe she would get a new dress. I don't really pay attention to something like that, even though I am the gay son. But this was just, it was the fancy blue dress or the fancy red dress or whatever it was for the Christmas, but it was the Christmas do. Dad's Christmas do. And it was at a very, it was either at a hotel or some kind of a fancy formal location. And you waited for it. And this was something that was exciting. You all wanted to go. It was on, I don't remember the day of the week. Like I said, I was however old I was. But most likely, a weekend or a Friday night or something, right? Because it's going to go late. And I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was, if they had awards or prizes or whatever. But my point is that these are people who were in their 30s and 40s who all dressed up and looked forward to it. So fast forward now, we actually did a poll on our syndicated radio shows not too long ago where we asked if you look forward to the Christmas holiday party or the Christmas holiday party. This is the staff, the company holiday party. I keep wanting to call it a Christmas party, which I know we're not allowed to do that anymore. And so the majority of people said no, they don't look forward to it. So we went through the emails because this was a few years ago on the radio, but we still have them. So we found a bunch of them. And it was basically people complaining and saying, look, I spend upwards of 8 hours a day with these people. And now you want me to, if it's during the week, like if it's on a Friday night, it's like, so you want me to work all day with these people, maybe have a bit of a break when we're done at 5 or whatever time you're finished work, but you're going to have to go and, get dressed or whatever it is. So either you leave the office and then you go home, you get dressed. And if you've got kids or whatever, feed the kids or walk your dog or whatever the hell you do, you're going to get dressed. And now it's, let's say 6 o'clock, maybe going on 6:30. Well, no, if you're done at 5, so it's probably going on 6:30, 7 o'clock. So you've just done a marathon sort of sprint home. You've got everybody set up for the night, and now you have to bolt. And so if you've got a partner or whatever who's going to be your date or your escort or whatever, then you go. And now you're going to spend another, so let's say it starts at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, because you're going to have the sit down dinner. Maybe there's dancing. Maybe you have company awards. Maybe there's, that they hand out prizes or something. And you look at that one day and now you've literally spent, aside from that break at home for that hour, maybe hour and a half, you've spent your entire Friday. Let's pretend it's Friday. Oh, it's Friday today. So with people that you either, can't stand, you don't really know. And so that's what we were having is, you're going to have the people who are going to either sit with their department, right? So let's say you're in marketing and maybe you don't like your coworkers, but you're forced to sit at the marketing table and everybody's got their spouse or partner, whatever it is. So there's going to be this awkwardness because, either nobody's really talking or nobody knows each other, or it's just going to be. Now, yes, if you have close friends at work and you're allowed to choose, kind of like where you sit and it can be a social gathering, then fine. But the majority of people, when we asked this, said that they don't like going to the company do nowadays. And a big part of that is, like I said, because of the timing. If you let us leave early, right? Maybe if you let us go at noon that day, or the office is just closed that day, and then we make it an evening thing so we all go, that could be a different story. But I think that's the frustration, though, is that if you do it on a work night, I know that Suzanne was telling us the other day, or Suzanne's one of our producers, she was saying that when she worked at a place, the holiday party was on a Thursday night. On a Thursday night. So it doesn't necessarily ruin your weekend, but you work all day Thursday, and then you go for the event in the evening, and then you work on Friday. So you have this, what would that be, 36-hour stretch where you've probably spent over 24 hours with these people, right? So you got your 2 full work days, and then whether it was, a full night of, dancing or whatever it is. So one of the other complaints that we had or saw from people was they would say, for the amount of money that's spent on those kinds of things, so if it's renting a hall and there's a catered dinner, usually it's like a buffet, right? So, but those are expensive now too. And then if there's going to be dancing, so that you're going to have a DJ, or if there's prizes or awards handed out, people just go and say, just pay me more. Just give me the bonus and it'll let me do my thing. I don't need to, because people don't have that emotional connection with their workplace anymore. So do you find that to be true? Do you have an emotional connection with your workplace? Send me an email, live, Live, at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. For our group, it's not that we don't like each other. I mean, we all have great relationships where I know what Bonnie Winters, our executive producer, is thinking. She knows what I'm thinking, even just in the way that I'm responding or my facial reactions or, whatever it is. We don't do a Christmas party, and it's not because we can't stand each other. As I was saying, we communicate all day, every day, even on days off. I mean, there's phone calls, there's texts, there's getting together, but it's just because obviously we like each other. Otherwise, I wouldn't hire these people and they wouldn't work for me for this long. But it's kind of like, all right, we get most of the month of December off anyway, just because of the way our schedule goes with covering entertainment and different things. So, you kind of balance those things out, and that's really it. And I've said to them, like, why we do lunch all the time anyway, because it's a small group here. So it's not a big, we're not having an office or a hall full of 75, 100, 200 people. So for us, I mean, when we order pizza for the group just randomly on a Wednesday, if we do. So it's not really anything. There's no gifts. Nobody. I own the company. I'm the boss, but it's like nobody gives me a gift. I don't give the staff gifts. And I mean, and that's the way we like it. We just we don't need to do. We don't celebrate each other's birthdays. There's nobody's desk or office gets decorated when it's a birthday. And so, in saying that, people would be like, oh, wow, it doesn't sound like a very fun workplace. Well, here's the thing, is that we've all been here for 20-some years, and it works for us, right? We would not be able to, I don't think, and I would not hire somebody who's in their early 20s who needs to have this, I need to leave early. I work better when I start at 9 o'clock, and I need this, I don't need that. If you need to be patted on the head like that, you're not fucking working in our office. Sorry, and I find that it's the younger generation. Call me ageist, but I mean, I wouldn't I was talking about that graphic designer with the pink mouse and the whatever. It's like, yeah, no, she wouldn't fucking work in my office. Are you kidding? Not a chance. Not a chance. There's just a certain level of comfort. Our group comes from that generation where you could have inappropriate conversations and bad language and inappropriate jokes or, whatever, and that's fine. So if you're easily offended, or if you want, you're going to go and run to HR and complain about something, no. I realize that's the more politically correct and the more, professional way, but we're just, no. I don't know how many times I've called, or Bonnie's called me a bitch or a dick, and I've called my husband's assistant Lisa a cunt, and I mean, that's just, she's called me a cunt, she calls me a fag, it's just, and again, you can go and say, well, that's really unprofessional, oh my god, but you know what, none of us are uptight about it, it's done jokingly, playfully. If I called any one of my teammates, and they're my staff, so there is a bit of, they do have a bit of loyalty to me. If I called any one of them, provided that they're not, at a funeral or something, they answer my call. And just as they call me, I answer the call. We don't have this whole, Mr. Bradley, no. There's no, knocking on the door. It's like you just walk into the office. That's just the way it is. And again, we keep things very loosey-goosey here, and it works for us. So if you were to drop all of us into one of those modern day offices, we'd all be fired on the first day. I don't know that we wouldn't last. We wouldn't survive. I would have no interest in working in a place like that. So tell me what you think of workplaces. Is it catering to this younger generation that needs to be, entertained and rewarded with things and Spirit Week and dress up time and decorate your desk and let's do some wall stretches and does that entice you? Does that make you want to work there? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, because one of the things that we've discovered is in those job ads that I was referencing earlier is that it just seems like it's the employer kissing the employee's ass. Like I think back to when I was applying for jobs, even as a teenager, you were terrified. You were so worried about impressing them or saying the wrong thing and looking like an idiot, or you were nervous. You were the one nervous. And it seems like now the potential employee the candidate has the upper hand, which again, people are going to go and say, well, of course. I mean, for the longest time, the companies were at the same time, but the company should come first and foremost. As the company owner, I'm not adapting to your life and your routine and your schedule. You're adapting to the needs of this business if you're wanting to work here. Point blank, period, end of story. So this whole, of people like, well, I don't, can I work, like 10 hours a day and only 4 days a week and just have Fridays off? Can I do that? You know what? We have that luxury of doing that now because of the way our setup is with our production schedule, but you're not coming in with demands like that. That's just definitely not something where, I'm not trying to impress you. You're wanting to work for our company because it's great and we produce wonderful things and we have a good time. I am not doing a song and dance as the employer to make you want to work here. Not happening. Not happening. So again, when I was going for a job interview, all of us would go for a job interview. You were dressed up nicely. You were sitting up straight. You would kind of, you'd laugh at their jokes and you would compliment them and you would, you just say pleasant things. And then when you left there, you were so nervous, right? And then you either waited by the phone or however they were going to contact you. Usually it was by phone back then. Maybe it was, and it was, you just, I hope they liked me. Oh, I hope I made a good impression. That's the stuff that you were saying back then. Now, I almost kind of want to just apply for a job and then go for an interview to see, like, are they going to be ass kissing me? Are they going to be the one to be complimenting me? I would never, as the employer, do that. Sorry, that's just not. No, because you're giving the employee the upper hand right away. Now, again, I'm probably speaking to most of you who are listening. You're employees of somebody for the most part. So you're going and saying, well, you're just a corporate boss and blah, blah, blah. Well, you are an asshole to work for. Again, bring any one of the people who work for me. We have no turnover at this company. Not one turnover. In our editorial, like our broadcast team. None. Bonnie is over 70 years old and is still working. Not full-time, but, but because she loves the group, she loves what she does here, and we all have a good time. So somebody who could have retired a very long time ago, her husband worked for the government for 30-some years, he's got pension, he's got retirement, he's got everything. She could be on Easy Street not doing a goddamn thing every day. Still comes in when we tape shows and do things. She's in her 70s. So, am I a nasty employer? Obviously not. Bonnie and Mike have a cottage not too far from where my husband and I do, out at the north of Winnipeg. Now, we don't spend much time in Canada, although we were there last summer for my birthday. And so I was getting together with... Who was I getting together with? Oh, Lisa, my husband's assistant, Lisa. So my husband was out of town. He was he's a fitness model, as I've mentioned many times on the show, and he was out of the country doing a photo shoot. So I was in Canada, and Lisa is in Winnipeg. So she said, let's get together for your birthday. So I was like, okay, cool. And we just have a laugh, and we have so much fun. We didn't really know exactly what we were going to do. We'd spent probably 3 or 4 days before my birthday tossing out ideas. We could go, and we wanted to do something silly. We can go go-karting. Oh, we could go and play bingo. Oh, we could go to a carnival. Oh, we could go and do this. There's laser, or there's an arcade. We can go bowling. We can go do so many, or just even a road trip. My birthday's in August. So we just started she picked me up because I was obviously going to be drinking and whatever. So she picked me up, and I get into the car. We're driving for maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, and I just said, let's call Bonnie. So I call Bonnie on speakerphone. I did not say, I knew she was out at the lake, but I didn't go and say, "Oh, what are you doing today?" or whatever. So I called her. She says happy birthday, whatever. And I said, "Oh, I'm just with Lisa. We're going to go for lunch or whatever." Meanwhile, we were already starting to drive out to the lake because I'd confirmed that she was out there. They were going to be at their place and they weren't going to be, in town or something. They were going to be at the cottage. So I say to Bonnie, I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, we're just going to do lunch or something." I mean, it was a holiday weekend in Canada too. So I said, "Oh, the traffic's going to be nuts, whatever." And so we ended up going out there. So it's about it's about an hour, I guess, north of Winnipeg. So we were driving. The traffic was very light. We ended up going at about noon. We get out to Mike and Bonnie's place. It's a surprise because she truly wasn't expecting us. And we're sitting out on the deck. Bonnie disappears. She goes inside. And then about 5 minutes later, she comes out full platters of cheese, crackers, grapes, wine. She just fully catered that entire thing. We just showed up there. This wasn't planned. They were having company later for the holiday weekend, so they ended up having to go get more stuff. But we didn't eat them out of house, no. But anyway, so my point is like that's what our group is. That's what we do. Maybe they were pissed. I don't know. I should call her right now and ask her. Is she there, you guys, or where is she? She's in her office. She's not. She normally sits on a chair outside. There's a window where they are doing the producing thing, and she's in her office. They're saying. But anyway, so that's my point, is that we're a team. We see each other all day, every day. It was a holiday weekend, so we weren't working. We have a lot of time off in the summer. But I get together with my husband's assistant. I go and I get together with my executive producer, and we had some laughs. And we did a bunch of silly pictures, and we had a good time. So, so we don't, I guess, I said we don't celebrate our birthdays. Okay, you know what I mean, though, is that we don't go and bring in cupcakes in the office and sing and do a big, that's what I mean, is we don't do that. But, if we go for lunch or something for someone's birthday, okay, fine. But it's not, there's no banners, there's no, we don't do anything like that. So, but anyway, again, so send me an email. Tell me your thoughts on workplaces. If you're of a certain age, let's say 40 and up, do you like working with the younger generation, or is it just such a different work ethic? It's just a different mindset, totally different mentality. The email address, live, L-I-V-E, @jbonair.com. And if you enjoy those little games and tokens of appreciation and they beer on tap, because I think the novelty of that sort of wears off, or maybe it ends up being like a Friday thing. It's like when you go to an all-inclusive resort, that first day you eat and drink so much, and then by day 3 or 4 you're kind of like, it's already, it's old. Like when you go to a party and there's all these bottles of booze, and then you're kind of like, yeah, it's all right, now I've had a few and that's okay. Do you need that in a workplace? Does that motivate you? Does that make you feel good about going in? Or are you there because you like the job and the actual work that you're doing? I thought that would be the focus, is I love writing, so I'm going to get a writing job. It doesn't matter the, environment and the atmosphere and the chaos around. Email me, live, L-I-V-E, @jbonair.com. Back on the Scribble right after this.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
JB here on The Scribble. So my team is just laughing. They're saying, you really just painted yourself as this horrible person to work for. And I said, you know what? If that makes people listening not want to work for me for jobs that aren't even open and being offered, then good. You wouldn't fit in here anyway. You have to have a certain personality type to get along with our group and hit it off. Otherwise, yeah, you'd be out the door very, very quickly. So, again, send me your thoughts on workplaces or even do you just like working from home? Is that did the remote work thing during the pandemic did it get old for you after a while? Did you need that human interaction, or were you kind of like, I'm fine just working on the couch at home with my little laptop and I'm, minimal interaction with people and I'm good to go? I want to hear your stories. Live, L-I-V-E, @jbonair.com. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter @thescribbleshow. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat, the fine tree